Peace to the gods and the goddesses of the nation, of the land, and of all creation. I hope everybody doing well. Hope you blessed in a positive mood and spreading that impact on everyone that you come in contact with. Now, in this little session that I'm about to give y'all, I just want to touch on a few things that I just heard about. And it's a touchy subject that a lot of people really don't touch on, but it needs to be addressed. And that certain thing is called white privilege. Does it exist? Truth be told, yes, it does. And I'm pretty sure that in the majority of, and I'm talking to you white people, I'm pretty sure that in the majority of your lives, you recognize that and use it to your advantage. Not saying that you shouldn't, because I'm pretty sure if there was such thing called black privilege, that's something that we was only privy to, then we would use that to the best of our ability. Namely, something being like, let's say, hold on for 1 second. Yeah, pardon self, family. But listen, if there was such a thing called black privilege, and you can put it in the mind of, let's say, rap, but in the all sense, rap, we give that away to everybody who's involved with it. But let's think about this for 1 second. Can you actually say that in this life and time there is not such a thing called white privilege? Be honest. Tell it to me, tell it to yourself, think about it. Look in the mirror and look at yourself. And this is addressed to white people. And if you look at my channel, you already know I'm far from racist. I've been in every situation with white people, so it's nothing against white people, but I just want you to understand that in the current times, in the basis of the life that we are living today, there is a such thing called white privilege. Example, when you jogging early in the morning time, do you get stopped by the police? I'm pretty sure that 90% of you don't. Why? Because there's a such thing called white privilege. You are already prejudged to the fact that you are not committing a crime. But let a black person be out here jogging in the street. The first thing that the police gonna think is that he done robbed somebody's house, or he done robbed somebody, or he did something wrong and now he's running, fleeing from the scene. When in all actualities, that's not the case. That's why we see earlier this year the man who was jogging, the people killed him because they thought that he had did something wrong. When in all actuality, he was only outside jogging. Black people do like to stay in shape too. Another example of white privilege. I've seen countless videos of white people wielding knives, fighting police, trying to hit police with cars, all types of shit. And not one time did that police raise that gun and shoot them point blank range. But you've seen countless black people who haven't been armed or have announced that they were armed and didn't want to, bring any problems, get gunned down in a rightful act of peace when they were surrendering willfully to the police. You get what I'm saying? When you go to the store, if you're a white person, are they following you around thinking that you're trying to steal something? They doing that to black people. When you go park on a certain street, maybe even just to text your phone, do police pull up behind you thinking that you're doing a drug deal or doing something bad? No, they do not. But they do it to us. You see, the guy, he didn't want to drive drunk. You see a dude, he didn't want to drive drunk, so he parked inside of a Wendy's parking lot. Even though he may have been wrong for doing that, but because of his actions of him not wanting to drive drunk and just needing to lay down and get sober, he was shot because of that. Is that justice? He was trying to do the right thing and end up being shot. Think about it. No matter what happened, during the altercation, it should have been like, oh, you parked over here because you feel like you're drunk and you want to just rest it off? Okay, go to sleep. Do not drive. Put your keys underneath your car so you can't drive and lay here, go to sleep, and don't drive until you wake up and you feel that you are coherent enough to be able to travel back to your place or your destination, wherever you're trying to go to. These things could have been said, but they were not. because of a racial profiling, not even just a racial, well, yeah, to be honest, a racial profiling that a certain ideology that police have against the black community. That's why you hear me say in my videos, in all actuality, that I feel that people who have grown up in the black community, being black members of that community, need to police that community because they have the more understanding of that community than a person who is looking from the outside. If you, how can I accurately judge you if I'm looking from the outside in? I cannot actually know what you're going through. I can't have the same feelings about you if I have never experienced the things that you have experienced in your life. I didn't have to come from that type of environment. So how can I base my judgment off of that if I haven't dealt with the things that you've dealt with in your life? So because of that, there comes to be racial profiling. And because of that, you have a such thing called white privilege, to where the things that commonly black people are harassed about and ridiculed about and thought of about, don't have to go through that. And half of the time they doing crimes just like anybody else. Think about it when the riots was happening. Who was the people that they was mainly saying that was out here doing that? Black people. But if you look at the majority of the videos, what did you see? You saw white people sitting up there looting and going in stores and burning shit down. It wasn't just black people. Why wasn't those people announced either? Why? Because of white people. White privilege, because they don't look and expect for the white people, the masses, to do that. They look for the black people, the black masses, to be able to do that because of the situation that's going on at that time. I just want you to sit up here and understand the things that I'm talking about. You don't have to go through the things that I go through. You don't have to walk down the street and be stopped by the police just because of the color of your skin, or because they're thinking that you're doing because of the way you're dressed. Anybody can dress hood and not be doing hood things. You get what I'm saying? So before you sit up and say that there is not white privilege, think about what you've had to get through in your life. It's easy for you to go into a bank and have, be a new person with new credit and easily get a credit loan. But a young black person who don't have no credit issues can go into that same bank and get ridiculed. Whether it be for a money loan or for a car or anything, they're going to be looked at of like, hold on, you black, I know y'all poor. Can you pay for this? Think about it, all the rappers and people that was getting money who went into stores and the people looked at them funny. We see it in our old movies. We see it in current rappers today who go in the store and like, yo, look at this person being funny with me because they don't think that I have the money, the adequate amount of money to be able to purchase this item. We've seen it countless times. You don't have to go through that. You could go in there and run a credit card that's not even your own. They be like, oh, hey, swipe, and you gone. But a black person come up in there, they checking the name. I want to see your ID. Is this really you? Come on now. Think about it. You do not have to go through that certain thing. You don't. You have a easier way in life than what a black person will actually have. And these are just some things that I wanted to bring across to everybody. Until then, man, you already know how I feel. You already know how I rock. Peace to the guys and the goddesses of the nation of the land. Make sure that y'all doing something positive, and just be aware of what you can attain and what the other person can attain. Maybe that will bring you to show more humility towards that other person. You get what I'm saying? Until then, peace and blessings.